Hello, Southwind Extension District. I'm Michaela Stroud, 4-H Program Assistant, and we are continuing celebrating National Bake for Family Fun Month, which is February, and today we are focusing on heart-shaped homemade pretzels. So, the ingredients that we need for today include 1.5 cups of warm water at that 110 degrees Fahrenheit mark, so this will help proof our yeast. 2 tablespoons of brown sugar, 2 teaspoons of quick rise or rapid rise yeast, 4 tablespoons of canola oil, and this is divided because we'll use it multiple parts within our recipe, 2 teaspoons of kosher salt, 4.5 to 5 cups of all-purpose flour, 8 cups of water, 2 teaspoons of baking soda, 1 large egg, coarse kosher salt, and also 4 tablespoons of butter melted. To begin with, to make our homemade pretzels, we are going to combine our 1.5 cups of warm water at that 110 degree mark, also our 2 tablespoons of brown sugar, and our packet or 2 teaspoons of quick rise or rapid rise yeast. Today I'm just using a packet. Okay, we are going to stir this together. Make sure that your sugar gets dissolved because that is the energy that your yeast will use to feed and multiply during the proofing process. Once this is dissolved and mixed, I'm going to take a tea towel, just a light towel, and place it over the top, and it's going to rest for a total of 5 to 10 minutes or until it is frothy and there's bubbles that have foamed at the top. Alright, as you can see, our yeast has went ahead and proofed as the bubbles have formed at the top. So next, we are going to add our 3 tablespoons of oil, our kosher salt, and I'm going to mix this together. For this recipe, you can also use a stand-up mixer with a dough hook. However, today I'm just going to be combining everything by hand. Next, we're going to be adding our flour. You don't want to add all this at once. You just want to gradually keep adding about 1/2 cup or 1 full cup at a time. So since I am doing this by hand, I'm just going to sprinkle a little bit in and then stir it up. Having kids help with this is great hand-eye coordination practice, but also just learning basic culinary skills and seeing how different ingredients can react with each other. And a little bit more. After we get this completely combined, you will need to preheat your oven to 425 degrees Fahrenheit. If you're using a stand-up mixer with a dough hook, it is recommended to set it at a low speed and add 1 cup of flour at a time until it is thoroughly combined. When you are adding your cup of flour at a time, be sure to add it slowly and don't dump the whole thing in quickly or you'll have one heck of a mess. I have done that before, so I'm talking from experience. You can see by how you combine and keep stirring it, that is starting to form a shape. The shape that we are after is making it into a ball where it is pulling from the sides of your bowl. dough where it's thoroughly combined and pulled away from the sides, and you need to knead it for at least 4 minutes so everything is thoroughly mixed. I did that and I just formed it into a ball shape, put it into a clean bowl, and now I'm just going to take some of my oil and drizzle it over the top. And I like to pat it around to make sure it's good and coated. You can also just take your dough and move it around like this, so you know every square inch of that is coated with that oil. Because now we're going to find a warm place for this and take that same tea towel that you put over the bowl when your yeast was proofing, and you're just going to let that sit for an hour or until it's doubled in size. Okay, so our dough has doubled its size. Took about 45-50 minutes for me, and it can range from anywhere from 30 to 60 minutes on that. So next, we're going to take our dough and we need to divide it into 12 equal pieces. How I did it was I just quartered the dough ball, and now you can see how I have halves. Then I quartered it. Then I'm just going to cut my quarter into thirds. So sort of have these like little triangle pieces. But if you'd rather do strips or whatever shape that you'd like, just to try to keep it equal, you're more than welcome to do that. Next up is we gotta make our dough ropes or snakes, whatever you like to call them. You gotta take our dough and you want to roll it out. You can use your hands, your towel. I just like to use my hands, and you want it to get about 20 inches long. So this is going to be pretty darn long, okay? So you can just roll it between. This is a great activity for kids because you get to work with your hands. It's almost like working with almost working with edible Play-Doh. This is something that you get to play with, but then you get to eat later. So pretty darn exciting. Okay, I'm gonna go a little bit longer. And if you need to know like how long 20 inches is, grab a yardstick, ruler, anything like that, just to help judge. Okay, so you can go a little bit longer. Make sure to get your ends and try to keep it at a consistent size throughout the whole thing. So if you have a big lumpy area, work on that one. Then I'll get this end, right? So I have my 20 inches. What we're gonna do now is we're gonna take it and actually upside down, and you're going to twist it. This will help keep the dough together. And then you're going to flip it over to have that nice traditional pretzel, but it's Valentine's Day, so we're gonna try to make it into a heart. Let me transfer it over to my pan so you can see the finished product. And there you go. So you sort of make a teardrop, twist the ends, fold the ends inside, and then shape it. So I'm gonna go ahead and do the rest, and then we'll go over to my other station where we're actually gonna be boiling them next. For our next step, we actually have to boil each pretzel. I have 8 cups of water in my boiling pot. Let that come to boil, and then I added 2 teaspoons of baking soda. This is going to help get that crispy outer edge while keeping the interior soft while it bakes. So we're just going to take the pretzels that we had from earlier, and I just like to hold the bottom and then the center where that twist is, and gently put it in the top and then drop it in there. You don't want it in there very long. You need to time it for about 55 to 60 seconds. For my size of pot, I can put 2 in here and let them boil just 2 at a time. They will float to the top, which is fine, and I'm watching my watch to make sure we don't go over time. Once these boil for the correct amount of time, I'm going to transfer it to our baking sheet at 425 degrees, and we're going to bake it for 16 to 20 minutes until it has a nice golden brown. Once I get it onto my baking sheet and before we put it into the oven, I actually have an egg wash, egg and water mixture, and I'm just going to brush this on the top and then put it in the oven. again, we're just using the toaster oven that we here at the office, but you can use your regular oven at home, whatever you have. This recipe will work for it. All right, so it has been time for the boil process to be done. I just have a large slotted spoon. I'm gonna get in here and sort of crumbled up, but you can take it, move it back onto your pan. In this part of the recipe, you definitely need to have adult supervision as you have an oven, but also boiling water. So now I'm just going to take my egg wash. I couldn't find a brush earlier, but you can just take tops of your fingers, brush it on there, and you are good to go for the oven. 425 for 16 to 20 minutes. So our finished product looks like this. Nice golden brown pretzel. I just like to take a stick of butter. This is still very hot from the oven. Get it all good on the outside. This will also help with that goldeny color. And then take your kosher salt and just sprinkle it on there. And ta-da! You have heart-shaped homemade pretzels for Valentine's Day. You can dip this in honey, put them in cinnamon sugar, any type of condiment that you would like. You can also use this dough for like pretzel dogs and many other things. So I hope you try this recipe soon with your family and have some fun this holiday. Bye.